I've always wanted my day in court. It was only until the government threatened to start hurting people that I care about that I was willing to give that up.
The U.S. Attorney was closed-mouthed when it came to Johnson's allegations of threats being made to family members.
No threats were made.
It would appear that David Barlow, head of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah, is unaware of the efforts made by Assistant U.S. Attorney Brent Ward to extract a guilty plea from Jeremy Johnson by threatening many of Johnson's family members and friends with arrest. In September of 2012, Assistant U.S. Attorney Brent Ward handed Jeremy Johnson a list of people that he intended to arrest unless Jeremy would tell the judge he was guilty. This list included Jeremy's mom and dad, as well as other friends and family members. These threats were first delivered to Johnson's court-appointed attorney, Nathan Crane, back in June of 2012. The following is a sample from an interview with Nathan Crane shortly after his meeting with Mr. Ward.
My meeting was with Brent Ward and Robert London. I met with 3 U.S. attorneys and 6 federal agents. It was a very odd conversation in many regards. They wanted to plead guilty to something, and if he did, then they wouldn't indict his parents. And so I flat out said, what do you want him to plead guilty to? What charge is there that he should take responsibility for? What evidence do you have out there? And he wouldn't give me anything. He's like, well, Jeremy needs to come and make a formal request. In my experience as a defense attorney, I haven't seen a case where the government has called and said, hey, you need to plead, your client needs to plead guilty or we're going to go after his family.
You might be asking yourself, why would Brent Ward need to threaten Jeremy's family? Most people don't realize that the reason the government had Brent Ward arrest Jeremy Johnson is because Johnson refused to sign a settlement agreement with the Federal Trade Commission. The government even admitted in court testimony that they had done no investigation prior to arresting Johnson and that they had not even spoken to a single victim. Johnson knew that if Brent Ward could imprison him with no evidence and no victims, then he could do the very same thing to Johnson's family and friends, even though there had been no crimes committed. That's why Johnson agreed to tell the judge he was guilty. As it turns out, Brent Ward has a history of using threats and intimidation to get what he wants.
It seemed like they wanted me to lie to the grand jury.
He didn't want to hear anything that was factual.
They, to my face, admitted that they hadn't looked at any of the evidence, and now they have to try to save face.
I wasn't telling him what he wanted to hear.
But it was like, if they ask you this, this is what you say. If they ask you this, this is what you say. And I said, but that didn't happen. I said, I can't say that, that didn't happen. I can't say that, that didn't happen. And it was just like, don't worry about it, it's not really lying, it's kind of stretching the truth, and I just said I wasn't going to do it.
The testimony that the FTC wrote for me and gave to the judge was not the testimony that I would have written or that I would have given had I been speaking with the judge one-on-one.